They've touched our hearts, they've made us smile, and became dear friends, who we will always remain hopelessly devoted to.
There has never been a time when John Travolta did not have the ability to win hearts, whether he was on or off the screen. His romantic life has never been dull, beginning with his days as a young Hollywood star and then with his marriage to Kelly Preston, which has lasted for many years. The ladies he has dated range from senior actresses to gorgeous co-stars. He has dated women of different ages. His supposed romance with a co-star has recently generated a lot of excitement among his followers in the year 2024. The dating history of John Travolta is full of unexpected twists and turns, and more recently, his children have revealed something astonishing about their father. From his humble beginnings in New Jersey to his rise to fame in Hollywood, we want you to join us as we investigate his love past and recent discoveries from his children. On February 18, 1954, John Travolta, the youngest of 6 children, was born in Englewood, New Jersey, which is a neighboring suburb of New York City. He was the youngest of the Travolta children. His mother, Helen Cecilia Travolta, was an actress and singer, and his father, Salvatore Sam Travolta, had a career as a tire salesman after playing football at the semi-professional college level. Every one of Helen's children, including John, who was raised in a family that was full of theatre enthusiasts, was inspired by Helen's enthusiasm for the theatre. While John's mother was of Irish origin, John's father was of Italian descent and had Sicilian roots. In spite of the fact that John was brought up in a culture that was predominantly Irish, he eventually converted to Scientology in 1975, when he was 21 years old. After attending Dwight Morrow High School, John left school at the age of 17 in order to follow his ambitions of becoming an actor. In the beginning, he relocated to New York City, where he was able to secure roles on Broadway in musicals such as Grease and Over Here. Early performances like these laid the groundwork for his big break. After deciding to advance his acting career, John relocated to Los Angeles in the year 1972. However, his first important film job came in 1976, when he played Billy Nolan, a bully, in the horror thriller Carrie. His first on-screen appearance was a small one in the television drama Emergency. Around the same time, he was cast in the part of Vinnie Barbarino in the television sitcom Welcome Back, Kotter, which lasted from 1975 to 1979. This role helped him become a household name. It's interesting to note that his sister Ellen also made appearances on the show quite frequently. After his performance in the film Welcome Back, Kotter, Travolta's career began to take off. Following that, he made a speedy transition from television to film, eventually becoming a starring man in Hollywood. The performance he gave in the 1977 film Saturday Night Fever got him a nomination for an Academy Award in the category of Best Actor. He starred in other successful films as well. His performance in the 1978 film Grease solidified his position as a cinematic star, and the music went on to become a great commercial hit. As a matter of fact, John continued to flourish throughout the 1980s with films such as Blowout, 1981, and Urban Cowboy, 1980. Nevertheless, his career was not without its obstacles. Even though he had a few films that were not as popular as others, he made a tremendous comeback with Pulp Fiction in 1994, which earned him another nomination for the Academy Award for Best Actor. Undoubtedly, his portrayal of Vincent Vega in this Quentin Tarantino masterpiece remains one of the most unforgettable performances he has ever given. From the beginning of his career till the present day, John Travolta has been honored with a multitude of accolades and nominations, including a Primetime Emmy Award and a Golden Globe Award. His work has garnered him nominations for a BAFTA Award as well as 2 Academy Awards: Get Shorty, which was released in 1995, Broken Arrow, which was released in 1996, Face Off, which was released in 1997, A Civil Action, which was released in 1998, Primary Colors, which was released in 1998, The General's Daughter, which was released in 1999, and Hairspray, which was released in 2007, are some of his other important films. On the other hand, Travolta did not limit himself to acting. In addition to that, he is a gifted singer-songwriter. 9 albums and 4 singles have been released by him, and all of them have made it into the top 40 of the Billboard Hot 100. One of his most well-known musical works is perhaps the soundtrack to Grease, which reached #1 on the Billboard 200 chart. In addition to his work in the entertainment industry, did you know that John is also a pilot for a private company? He has a deep love for flying and is the proud owner of a number of different planes. This activity is simply one more example of the wide range of interests and abilities that he possesses. In addition to talent and a little bit of Hollywood magic, his narrative is a remarkable combination of hard work and talent. Now, however, that is not the end of Travolta's narrative. Additionally, he has been quite the heartthrob, having been in a number of high-profile partnerships. Let us have a peek at his very interesting dating history, shall we? The early romances of John Travolta and the heartbreaking loss he experienced. When it comes to his romantic past, John Travolta has had an interesting and occasionally terrible history. He had a few relationships that were significant when he was just beginning his career in both the theater and the film industry. In his younger years, he had a romantic relationship with the Broadway actress Anita Gillette. In 1976, they had a brief relationship. Despite the fact that not much is known about their relationship, it was a brief romance that lasted for only a few months at most. Even though his relationship with Anita Gillette had come to an end, Travolta was able to find love once more, but this time it was far more profound. With Diana Hyland, his co-star from the television movie The Boy in the Plastic Bubble, he started a romantic relationship. When they first started dating in 1976, Travolta was only 23 years old, and Hyland was 41 years old, which was a significant age difference. The fact that Hyland played the mother of Travolta's character in the film did not prevent the two actors from falling in love with each other, aside from their on-screen performance. In 1977, Travolta's relationship with Hyland was the subject of widespread media attention. Regrettably, a tragic event brought an end to their love tale. Hyland was diagnosed with breast cancer, and despite the fact that they shared a great connection, she went away in his arms in 1977, just 1 year after they began dating. The news of her passing had a profound impact on Travolta. While they were in the middle of filming Saturday Night Fever, he had hurried to her side in order to be with her for the final minutes of her life. Travolta has expressed his affection for Hyland, referring to her as the girl he has loved the most in his entire life. During an interview with People magazine in 1977, he stated, "In my entire life, I have never been more in love with anyone. There was a time when I believed I was in love, but I was not. The moment I laid eyes on her, I was immediately drawn to her. On the set of Bubble, we were like two crazy people who were always talking to each other. By the end of the month, it had turned romantic. When I was with Diana, I had the most fun I've ever had in my entire life." This demonstrates how profoundly he felt about her and how their relationship was characterized by happiness and a strong sense of connection. Furthermore, he claimed that prior to his encounter with Hyland, he had doubts about his ability to ever have a good relationship. And here's the strange thing. Right before we met, I was convinced that I would never be able to have a relationship that was successful. When I asked her about it, she admitted that she had the same thought. Then, all of a sudden, their encounter and the subsequent romance appeared to be practically predetermined, bringing both of them happiness that they had not anticipated. Despite the fact that they were happy, the time they spent together was excruciatingly brief. As Travolta struggled to maintain a healthy balance between his growing profession and his personal life, he made it a top priority to be with Hyland during the latter days of her life. When she began to experience a decline in her health, he made the decision to return to Los Angeles from New York, where he was filming Saturday Night Fever, in order to be by her side. In spite of the fact that their love affair was brief, it left an indelible mark on Travolta. Later on, he disclosed that they had intended to move in together and be married at some point in the future. Even though they only had a brief amount of time together, this demonstrates how serious and committed they were to each other. For Travolta, the passing of Hyland was a huge loss, because it was the first time he had experienced profound romantic love and the terrible loss of a loved one. More casual encounters and romantic relationships. A year after the death of Diana Hyland, John Travolta rekindled his romantic relationship with his close friend Marilu Henner in the year 1978. In spite of the fact that they had first met in 1974 while acting in the musical Over Here, their relationship did not begin until after they had formed a friendship when performing on Broadway in Greece. Travolta and Henner reportedly had a relationship that was intermittent from 1978 till 1989, as stated by Famous Fix. As Henner described in an interview with KLTA, the bond between them was an extremely powerful one. "He is a wonderful human being," she proclaimed. "I adore him. Due to the fact that we all have 3 sisters and 2 brothers, our families were very similar, and we were able to bond with one another right away. His mother was a drama teacher, and my mother was a dance teacher. I was a car salesman, and his father was a tire salesman. Now we shared a lot of things in common. They were able to form a strong connection thanks to their common history. They were even said to have lived together and had gotten engaged at one point in time, according to gossip. Their romance lasted for 13 years, during which time they alternated between being together and being apart. The fact that Henner never stopped speaking well of Travolta, despite the fact that they finally went their separate ways, demonstrates the enduring regard and respect that they had for one another. A brief affair between John Travolta and Catherine Deneuve, a French actress, took place in 1980, while Travolta was in the midst of his engagement with Henner. It has been reported by Famous Fix that the two were observed together on multiple occasions throughout this time period. Even though their relationship did not last long, it brought a touch of European glitz and glamour to Travolta's resume of romantic relationships. The fact that Travolta's romantic life was full of highs and lows during the late 1970s and early 1980s is demonstrated by this fact. He was able to demonstrate his propensity for profound and significant relationships through his long-term relationship with Henner, while his brief romance with Deneuve added a fascinating chapter to his tale. Brooke Shields and John Travolta's love affair was a public relations stunt in Hollywood. When the news broke in 1981 that John Travolta was dating Brooke Shields, the entertainment industry was ablaze with excitement. Travolta was 27 years old at the time, while Shields was only 16 years old. However, the real story was even more startling than the age discrepancy, which caused eyebrows to be raised. There were allegations that Terry Shields, Shields' mother, was the one who engineered the relationship between Travolta and Shields for the purpose of giving notoriety to the relationship. The mother of Brooke was extremely authoritarian and exerted a significant amount of control over her daughter's professional life. She was of the opinion that dating Hollywood celebrities would ensure that Brooke remained in the public eye. The controversial part that Shields portrayed in the film Pretty Baby, which was released in 1978, brought her a lot of attention. In the film, she played a young girl who was coerced into working in the sex trade. It was already well known that Travolta was a famous actor, having starred in films such as Saturday Night Fever and Grease. There were many who thought that the relationship between Brooke Shields and John Travolta, which was well publicized, was done with the intention of attracting the attention of the media. As reported by the Washington Post, Travolta made a phone call to Terry Shields in order to inquire about the possibility of taking Brooke out to dinner. Brooke's mother saw a tremendous opportunity for public relations and decided to let her daughter date, despite the fact that she normally did not permit her daughter to date. Blowout, starring John Travolta, and Endless Love, starring James Shields, were both on the verge of being released at that time. For a media frenzy, the timing couldn't have been better. On the other hand, their relationship was non-sexual in nature. Brooke disclosed in her autobiography, titled There Was a Little Girl, The Real Story of My Mother and Me, that her mother was the one who organized the majority of the alleged romantic relationships that she had. For the purpose of advancing Brooke's career, Terry Shields desired to identify her with influential and well-known individuals. According to what Brooke wrote, she did not concentrate on love, let alone romance, but rather she sought to identify me with names that connoted celebrity, money, and power. despite the fact that their relationship was a contrived one, Travolta and Shields formed a genuine bond with one another. According to an interview that Travolta gave to People magazine, Shields and Travolta had a relationship that was founded on mutual respect and affection rather than romanticism. Brooke was urged by Terry Shields to become friends with other celebrities, like George Michael and Michael Jackson, among others among them. Both their kind personalities and their popularity were admirable to her. The public image of Brooke was successfully maintained through the use of this method, despite the fact that it was not founded on genuine relationships. Shields also discussed in her memoirs how she finally moved on to actual loves along the course of her life. When she was 22 years old, she had her first sexual experience with the actor Dean Cain, which was a far cry from the planned affairs she had during her teenage years. The complicated relationship that Shields had with her mother, which had a long-lasting effect on her personal life, was a contributing factor in some of the difficulties that she experienced in her relationships. All of this was covered in Shields' memoir, which was published in 2014 and titled, "There Was a Little Girl, The Real Story of My Mother and Me." The phrase, "This quote perfectly sums up their relationship," was published in People magazine at one point. It was a carefully orchestrated public relations gimmick that turned out to be a genuine friendship. In the end, Brooke Shields went on to more serious romantic relationships. In the year 2001, she tied the knot with her husband, Chris Henchy. Two of the couple's daughters, Rowan and Greer Henchy, are their children. Travolta found true love with the woman he would spend the next few decades of his life with, and they went on to have a long and loving marriage. This occurrence occurred after his public relations-driven relationship with Shields. But were you aware that a lot of people have doubts about Travolta's sexual orientation? John Travolta speaks up about the claims that have been circulating about him. You see, John Travolta, a renowned actor whose career has spanned decades, has been subjected to repeated suspicions regarding his. In spite of the fact that he has dated a number of well-known women, such as Anita Gillette, a Broadway star, and Marilu Henner, a renowned actress, the media has frequently questioned his sexual orientation. These allegations took a turn for the worst in 2014 when Douglas Gottlieb, a former pilot for Travolta's aviation company Alto, alleged that he had an affair with the actor in the 1980s. Gottlieb came forward with this accusation. It was even Gottlieb's intention to create a book that would reveal everything about their purported relationship. Travolta attempted to stop him by sending him a letter requesting that he stop, citing a confidentiality agreement as the reason. The book was never published, despite the fact that a judge ruled in favor of Gottlieb. In an interview with the Daily Beast in 2017, Travolta addressed these accusations and confirmed that they were true. In his statement, he referred to such rumor as the Achilles heel of every celebrity and stated that it is all about people wanting money. In his statement, Travolta stated that he typically disregards the reports because he is unable to control what is written in tabloids. On the other hand, he did not participate in the rumor when it touched his family. He stated, "I found it most offensive with the loss of my son, and I agree with him." In his opinion, the media went too far when they linked the rumors to the tragedy that he had experienced in his personal life. There are quite a few Hollywood celebrities that have commented on Travolta's. It was suggested by Carrie Fisher, who is famous for her role in Star Wars, that everyone in Hollywood was aware of it but didn't show any concern about it. She said the following in a column that she contributed to Out magazine in 2009. "We don't really care that John Travolta is gay." In a subsequent interview with advocates, she went on to say, "It only draws more attention to it when you make that kind of legal fuss. Allow things to be as it is." On the other side, Kirstie Alley, who has been a long-standing friend of Travolta and a co-star in his films, has assertively refuted these reports. "I know John with all my heart and soul," Alley said in an interview with Barbara Walters of ABC News. Alley and Travolta had featured together in the Look Who's Talking movies before. The man is not gay. She went on to explain that when someone in Hollywood is considered renowned but has not been involved in any scandals, people begin to fabricate stories about them. Additionally, Ali referred to Travolta as the greatest love of my life. The fact that they were both involved in other relationships at the time meant that they did not act on their love for one another, despite the fact that she stated that it took all of her strength to refrain from marrying him. In spite of these repeated rumors, Travolta has demonstrated a remarkable level of resilience. The people that are closest to him, his family and his work, are the things that he has decided to prioritize. Kelly Preston and John Travolta, a love story that takes place in Hollywood. On the set of a movie that was not particularly well known, Kelly Preston and John Travolta began their relationship, which would go on to become one of the most enduring love tales in Hollywood. The Experts was a comedy that was released in 1987 and did not perform well at the box office. However, it was the film that brought them together and generated a particular connection between them. Having the opportunity to meet John was like a dream come true for Kelly. Her confession that Travolta was her celebrity infatuation came before they had even met. She had previously admitted it. When they first met, Kelly was in the process of concluding a troubled marriage to actor Kevin Gage, which had lasted for 2 years. She later stated that Kevin Gage was not the right person for her. She had a brief relationship with George Clooney after her divorce, and she even moved in with him for a short period of time during that time. After that, Kelly had a hasty engagement to Charlie Sheen, who proposed with a jaw-dropping 25-carat diamond ring. However, that engagement also ended abruptly, leaving Kelly unmarried and eager for something more substantial. Soon after that, she began dating Travolta, which was the beginning of something quite significant. Despite the fact that there was no denying the strong connection that existed between them, John quickly came to the conclusion that Kelly was the one for him. On the evening of New Year's Eve in 1991, John proposed to Kelly with a ring that featured a yellow and white diamond, weighing 6 carats. The proposal took place at the Palace Hotel in Gstaad, Switzerland. Jonathan Crane, the producer of Look Who's Talking To, stated that Kelly yelled in amazement and excitement when she made the announcement. Kelly was obviously taken aback by the news. The couple's close friends and family members were aware that this relationship was special in its own way. According to Linda Carlson, Kelly's mother, who told people in 1991 that after her daughter had previous relationships with bad boy types, John was just what Kelly needed since he was so kind, generous, and compassionate. This was not only another Hollywood relationship, rather, it was the genuine article. In addition, Kelly had long-term goals in mind. As she revealed to Entertainment Tonight that she and her partner intended to begin their family as soon as they confirmed their engagement. The love story of Kelly Preston and John Travolta demonstrates that love may come to you when you least expect it, even after a string of unsuccessful relationships. They demonstrated that when the proper person comes along, everything just clicks, and what follows can be a wonderful, eternal romance. They were proof that these things can happen. Their wedding took place in 1991 at the Hôtel de Crayons in Paris, and it was a magnificent event that took place just a few months after they had announced their engagement. However, they couldn't be satisfied with it. And further wedding ceremony was held for them a week later in Daytona Beach, Florida, in order to ensure that their love was recognized in the appropriate manner. Shortly after that, in 1993, they became parents for the first time to a son named Jet, and their love story was only getting started. As time went on, Kelly and John's family expanded to include more members. It was in the year 2000 when they welcomed their daughter, Ella, who quickly became the pride and joy of her parents. During the time that they were raising their 2 children, Kelly and John ensured that they maintained their employment. In the film industry, John has appeared in films such as Swordfish, Ladder 49, and Lonely Hearts, while Kelly has appeared in films such as The Cat in the Hat and What a Girl Wants over his career. Despite their hectic schedules, they always made time for each other and their family. The Travolta family wasn't shy about stepping into the spotlight together. They often brought their kids to red carpet events, showing the world that their love wasn't just for show. It was a genuine loving bond that kept them together through thick and thin. But they also faced unimaginable sorrow. John Travolta's biggest heartbreaks. In 2009, tragedy struck the Travolta family Jet, their 16-year-old son, died during a family vacation in the Bahamas. Jet had a seizure, which led to a fatal head injury. He had a history of seizures and had been diagnosed with Kawasaki disease when he was just 2 years old. John confirmed that Jet was autistic and had regular seizures. He openly talked about Jet's condition, especially during the trial of 2 individuals who tried to extort money from him by threatening to release private information about Jet's death. Losing Jet was devastating for John and Kelly. Family attorney Mike Osei shared that John was heartbroken, saying, "To bury your son is the worst thing you can ever do." Despite the immense grief, the family found ways to cope. John credited his immediate family and Scientology for helping him through this dark time. In memory of Jet, John established the Jet Travolta Foundation, a non-profit organization to help children with special needs. The foundation has supported various organizations like the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy and the Simon Wiesenthal Center. A year after Jet's death, a new light entered their lives. In 2010, John and Kelly welcomed a baby boy named Benjamin. John told people that Benjamin brought renewed spirit and purpose to their home. Their family now included 3 children: Jet, born in 1992, who tragically passed away in 2009, Ella Bleu, born in 2000, and Benjamin, born in 2010. Through their ups and downs, John and Kelly's love remained strong. They celebrated milestone birthdays and anniversaries, often sharing sweet posts on social media. Their marriage seemed happy and stable, with their love evident in every photo and public appearance. However, in 2018, Kelly was diagnosed with breast cancer. She fought bravely for 2 years, but on July 12, 2020, John shared the heartbreaking news on Instagram. "It is with a very heavy heart that I inform you that my beautiful wife, Kelly, has lost her 2-year battle with breast cancer. She fought a courageous fight with the love and support of so many." Kelly was 57 years old. John's grief was unimaginable. He spoke about his journey through mourning in an interview with Esquire España. He emphasized the importance of allowing oneself the space to grieve, comparing it to multiple boats plummeting to the bottom of the ocean if one doesn't process their feelings properly. He mentioned that while having company in grief is helpful, it can sometimes become about helping others instead of focusing on one's own healing. So while Kelly and John had a fairy tale romance filled with glamorous events, family moments, and shared passions, their love story also had its share of challenges. Yet through it all, they supported each other and built a beautiful family together. Kelly's death left a huge void in John's life. He described Kelly as a courageous fighter who was always surrounded by love and support. Her legacy continues through their children and the charitable work done in Jet's memory. Kelly Preston and John Travolta's love story will always be remembered as one of Hollywood's most touching tales. It's a story of enduring love, the heartbreak of loss, and the hope of new beginnings. Travolta, struggling with love after Kelly Preston. So how has John Travolta's journey been since the death of his wife, Kelly Preston? Well, it has undoubtedly been marked by deep sorrow and personal struggles. You see, Kelly was Travolta's wife of 29 years, and since her death, Travolta has found it hard to move forward and embrace new beginnings. Speaking of which, Travolta's children, Ella and Benjamin, have expressed a desire for their father to find love again. According to a source from In Touch, the kids want him to start dating, but Travolta has been hesitant. He often says that his children must come first, and he's not ready to pursue a new relationship. Everyone wants him to be happy and fall in love again, the insider mentioned. However, despite the passage of almost 4 years since Kelly's death, Travolta remains reluctant to move on. The loss of Kelly has deeply affected Travolta's life and career. The same source revealed that Travolta took a break from acting and has been less connected to his faith. John hasn't been a part of anything he's really passionate about, they said, and his religion doesn't seem to be the biggest priority for him anymore. Travolta himself admitted that opening up again and being vulnerable is a challenge. He feels that addressing his grief is essential, but it's not easy. In February 2023, Radar Online reported that Travolta was still struggling with the idea of dating again. At that time, he believed he would never date again, feeling that he remained married to Kelly. John still considers himself married and says he will stay loyal to Kelly until the day he dies, the report said. Travolta continued to talk about Kelly frequently, which made it hard for him to move on. The insider continued by saying that because their lives were so linked, it is very difficult for him to move on. He believes that continuing to date someone else would be a betrayal of Kelly's memory. They went on to say that, although it is unfortunate, John has effectively made a commitment to remain celibate for the rest of his life. Nevertheless, there have been indications that Travolta might be thinking about a new romantic relationship, despite the fact that he is reluctant to date. According to a report that was published in the International News in January of 2024, Travolta was considering the possibility of having a professional matchmaker assist him in finding a new companion. According to a source close to the situation, Travolta was looking for a partner who possessed a remarkable personality. An explanation was provided by the source that he is searching for someone who is spontaneous, nice, kind, cordial, and hilarious. Meanwhile, it has been stated that Travolta continues to take into consideration what Kelly would have desired. He is under the impression that she would not want him to be by himself for an indefinite period of time. Taking a look back, it is simple to comprehend why Travolta finds it challenging to initiate romantic relationships. Travolta's most recent known relationship, which ended in 1989 with Marilu Henner, came to an end before Kelly. They had a sporadic relationship from 1978 till 1989, during which time they appeared in films such as Perfect and the television movie Chains of Gold together. The profound connection that Travolta shared with Kelly made the loss of her very difficult and distressing. Does Travolta have a new girlfriend? There is a lot of interest in finding a solution to this topic among everyone. The year 2024 has been the subject of speculation regarding the possibility of a romantic relationship between John Travolta and Kristen Davis. And source has apparently said that there is a spark between them, even though it has not been established whether or not they are formally dating. When they were working together on the movie Cash Out, reports began to circulate about them. It was reported by Closer Weekly that others who witnessed the two of them together observed that John appeared to be fully enamored with Kristen. He has been gushing to his pals about how gorgeous and intelligent she is. Kristen, on the other hand, has lauded John's sense of humor and referred to him as a cool man. In addition to this, friends of the couple say that they are a wonderful match for one another and that John might be passing up a wonderful opportunity if he does not make a move. It has been stated that the chemistry between them is undeniable, and many people are eager to find out whether or if this connection will develop into anything more. Regarding John Travolta, do you believe that this may be the beginning of a new romantic relationship? Another possibility is that he is still clinging to the memories of Kelly Preston's affection, and that this is just another gossip. In the comments section, please share your ideas, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you may watch other video updates.